Hello guys, I have been one of the biggest supporter of Tibet at individual level. Since I remember I started using social media, I had always supported the Tibetan cause. I had been very familiar with the plight of Tibetan refugees here in India. And these refugees are one of the, you can see, non-violent people, and they are not engaged in any kind of anti-China activities here in India. That I know for sure. What they are fighting for or what they are demanding for is their rights in Tibet, their independent homeland, where they can all again go back to their country and live a peaceful life as they did before the 1950s, I guess. So that time Tibet was a free land under Dalai Lama, and Dalai Lama was all of, you can say, he was the spiritual leader. He was the king of Tibet in that respect. Yes, he was. I had followed all the ills, means odd things about Tibet, and I also know good thing about Tibet. Tibet is a very spectacular landmass, and it has big mountains, beautiful valleys, and a blue sky, clear blue sky that you will never nowhere see anywhere in the entire world. That's the highest landmass, and is said to be one of the peaceful areas throughout the world, having richest source of minerals everywhere in Tibet, because that's a complete plateau region. So it's a very beautiful country, or a country that existed before 1954, I think. So what happened to Tibet? From Chinese angle, it was the atrocities of Dalai Lama that has forced Chinese government to take action in Tibet and merge it in entirely in China. Before that, China, the King Empire of China that lasted from 17th century to 20th century, they had made some kind of informal contacts over Tibet. They had informal control, and they were also like engaged in diplomatic efforts. Whatever the discussions and diplomatic development happened from outside world, that was happening through the China. And even we saw that happening during the time of Lord Curzon, the tripartite agreement that happened between India, Tibet, and Russia. That happened with the help of China, and that's the sole claim that Chinese claim over Tibet. That's the sole reason for it. So my intention is not to delve into history and look from historical angle what happened to Tibet, how it is now, and what's its effort gonna be. My concern is all on political things. I wanna highlight that the so-called Parliament of Tibet in Dharamshala, that is now completely infiltrated by Chinese propagandists. The Tibetan Parliament have so many elected members. They are backed by China, and they are slowly killing the Tibetan cows. There are so many people I know. I cannot pronounce their name because the name are somewhat difficult as an Indian to read or remember. But there are so many people from China. They have infiltrated into the Tibetan parliament in Dharamsala. And what about Dalai Lama? Dalai Lama, you know what he was, or his predecessors were like in Tibet during Dalai Lama regime or theocratic regime. So many people were going through great atrocities during those theocratic period. People were literally chained and paraded in the streets. Like you can imagine any type of gruesome punishment that was given to these people, especially criminals and under trials. So that was happening in Tibet, and that's no secret. Even Tibetan religious leaders used to wear thangta, something like that was entirely made up of human skin. Human skin, yes, you are hearing that right. And yeah, you can say that that's the part of their culture or something, but that's really not absurd. And during Dalai Lama regime, it was a bad thing that was happening in Tibet, and that's all recorded. European historians has recorded these things, these facts. But what about now? Now the Dalai Lama has given all the power, his political powers, to the Tibetan parliament in exile here in Dharamsala, and that we know that is completely infiltrated by Chinese propagandists. Chinese backed people are here, and now the approach of Dalai Lama has also changed. Dalai Lama is in no mood to go conflict with China. They don't want to antagonize China. He just looking for some, you can say, escape route where, or middle path you can say, where they can have the dialogues with China. They can come to some agreement, and they can just give up their Tibetan independence claim. Yeah, it might be sounding that I'm making this up, but that's real political thing that is happening. And from Chinese side, they are under no mood to give any concession to these people, these Dalai Lama and Tibetan parliament, because they know they have completely changed the socio-economic structure of Tibet. And Dalai Lama and his this Tibetan parliament in exile, they have zero control over the Tibetan autonomous region, or Xinjiang they say in China. So they know that from Tibet they are not going to get support, and the reason is obvious that these people here in exile, they were forming government, they were doing engaging in every political stunts they did. They were even propagating this free Tibetan cause at international level. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. But do the people of Tibet knows that? Absolutely not. Very few people, few percentage of people, they are aware that yes, there is some cause that is happening there in abroad, but they are also not familiar with this Dalai Lama, and they don't see him as their spiritual leader. From their angle, he is like another separatist, and that's truth, brutal truth. Yes, people here in India, refugees and around the world, they are still considering Dalai Lama as their religious leader, political leader also to great extent they say. But the fact is entirely different in China. In China, people have actually came above that separatism. People have chosen a life where they can go for modernization. If you see the highways of Tibet, it will look so glamorous. Buildings, if you see the Lhasa, the capital city, the capital, and around, if you see the new city, the videos of these cities are stunning. They can be comparable with any modern city right now. And that's not just the face of Lhasa, but in fact many cities in Tibet, smaller cities also, they have grown like some mega cities. And do you think that the people of Tibet who are inhabiting those areas, who have flourishing businesses there, to have peaceful life there, they gonna come out and cry for your Tibetan language, scripture, and support for Dalai Lama and democratic government? Absolutely not. They are not going. Yes, some people are raising their voice, like we have seen past few days back, a person named Tosi Bangchuk, he was arrested by Chinese official because he demanded this Tibetan language preservation of culture and heritage, and he was arrested. This was second time he got arrested, and people of Tibet are protesting for that, not inside China but from abroad. They are protesting this step of Chinese government to detain this Tosi Bangchuk, who had raised the issue of Tibetan heritage and culture. So we have seen since cultural revolution in China, the culture of Tibet in China, or you can see in Tibet, that has declined, altogether declined. The mainland Chinese culture, the Han culture, is dominating there, but still there are elements of traditional Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism in Tibet, and they are like a unique. They got a unique mix of Chinese and Tibetan culture right now, and they are in no future, you can say, they are going to come for your democratic cause, come for your Dalai Lama cause. They are not going to support. Yes, there are elements of people, many people whose ancestors faced the tragedies of those cultural revolution and the suppression of Tibetan people during Mao Zedong rule, and after that also. So they have faced the brutality of Chinese government. So their successors might come out and support you silently, but that will happen silently. And now China is like enormous, huge power. Its GDP is skyrocketing like 12, 13, 14, 15 trillion, or even considered by 2030 plus trillion dollar it will go. So it's China is still under growth phase. Its economy is booming, its military power is huge, and with the so-called non-violent approach, how you gonna like handle this Tibetan issue? Can you do that? Absolutely not. There's no power. Even United States or India, they will never go to help you to extent that you go separate from China. They will never help you militarily or by providing arms or ammunition. Anyway, they are not going, and that is reality. Because of Chinese boom, the economic boom in China, that has made this country a huge superpower in like 2024-25. They are superpower now, and no country will mess with them, including India. Indian government is mainly solely focused on protection of international border, or not international border, then so-called Indo-Tibetan border or Indo-China border, that is McMahon line, and disputes over the Aksai Chin area, Ladakh area. So we are in dispute, But believe me, even Indian government is not willing to go in all out war and occupy those Sky Chin area or go above McMahon line. They will not do so. Why they will do? Because these lands are, look at the geographical extension of this land. These lands are barren. These lands have no utility. They have little minerals there. Even they have minerals then uh, that's beyond extractive capacity of India. Right now India cannot extract those valuable resources. Those resource belt areas are in fragile economy, fragile, you can say, eco diversity zone, like Himalayan belt. So even environmentalists will go to get involved in it. So Indian government is not much interested because of no utility of those lands. Aksai Chin, as we claim, look, historically it is very near to Tibet. In fact, extension of Tibet, we can say. So still Indian government will not go for its own land mass Aksai Chin, because that is difficult to control. Going over a parcel of land that is having zero economic significance, and you have to put a lot of resources to preserve that land mass, that's not gonna work. Yes, it's another matter that if China someday, that country thinks of maintaining good relationship with India and just give away those claims over those lands and give to India, then that's a completely different issue. But in war or for those land, India will not go to war. Now Trump administration, they are pulling away from Pax Americana. They are no longer involved in Pax Americana kind of that bluff they created, like neoliberalism philosophy, bringing globalization to every corner of the world. They are pulling from that. They are now solely focused on American hegemony. They are focused on the tax reforms in America, living standards in America. They are focused on refugee crisis, and they are not interested in the politics of world. They don't want to be the global police right now under United States, under this Trump administration, and that's factual. For 4 years at least that gonna happen. So at this point of time, anyone from Tibet think that they will get independence because their ancestors fight for this Tibet cause. They are fighting, they are doing seminars, they are inviting global leaders, they are talking on human rights and blah blah. Yes, human right atrocities is happening in Tibet, but China is also supporting Tibet. Tibet is now, you can say, comparable. Tibetan cities are comparable to many modern cities right now. They have built Tibet like anything else. Even the East Turkestan, we call Uyghur province, and that capital Urumqi or something, that also looks like very glamorous city, and people of these cities living in a life of luxury under communist regime. Yes, communist regime is not permitting them freedom of expression, freedom of politics, freedom of ethnic, cultural, whatever they had, they are not permitting them. But at least they are having a life of luxury under modernization that China has brought to them. They have their stomach is full, their external desires are fulfilled. So what people consider essential, these are the things they have, literally in a very layman term, if you say, then they have clothes, they have food, and they have roof over their head, and that's enough for human desire. And politics is very upper level things, and that politics is banned there in China. Now, what could be the way forward? I think yes, this Dalai Lama approach, merging with China, that could be considered. That is a much better idea rather than going for a conflict, because you don't have the capacity, you don't have any militia groups in Tibet who can support you against Chinese forces, and in near future China is not going to be so weak to crumble. That's not happening. Tibetan government in exile, you be here in exile, but you will have no utility. There's no utility of that government in exile. It's better come to some kind of agreements. Go to China. Chinese government will not kill you, they will not slaughter you, because this is 21st century. And even government officials in China, even people in China are very much concerned toward human rights issues. They are concerned toward a single death also. If you look at the history in this past 10 years, histories of detainees, you will see these detainees are sent to some camps where they are brainwashed, and they are again released back in modern society. They are not killed. They are not killed. Yes, they are detained, I have seen so many people, even leaders in Communist Party, they are sent to some camps. They are again fed with some kind of propaganda, and they are released back in modern society. Yes, Chinese government is keeping a strict watch over these people because they can have some they can threat the communist regime there. But that's the current circumstances in China. They can be brutal, I know. Communist regime is very brutal. We have seen the Stalin who killed millions of Russians. Yes, Mao Zedong, millions of Chinese were starved during Mao's period. In that respect, Chinese regime can be brutal, no doubt. But now they are not brutal. They are moving with civilization. They are into modernization. They are into, you can say, industrialization. They are into providing every basic necessity to the people of China right now. And even India, like countries, we are far behind from that socialist model. From my perspective, no one gonna support Tibet. Indian government will just use Tibet as one of the card that expired long ago. Tibet card is no more relevant now. Probably it will get relevant if China attack Taiwan, but it's not relevant now, and it have no utility. So Indian government will not support you. United States, you share no border with United States, and India will never let that happen. Nepal will not support you. Bhutan don't have capacity, and Myanmar, they don't have capacity. They are already into their own mess. So it's completely in. And at last I will say, just follow your dharma, follow your whatever Buddhism. Mani Padma Ho, something like you can claim, or you chant Mani Padma Ho. So Mani Padma Hum. Okay, that is the thing. So it's all, guys. Bye and thank you for today. Bye.